No, it's 8, right? No, it's 8, right? This is your sound. I can hear it in my mic. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. Let's see thumbs up for those people that are enjoying their weekend. That's great. So let's just wait for about 4 minutes for the rest of your colleagues to join us. Then we'll start.
Hello.
Yeah, Samuel, we can hear you.
Okay, I should just take over.
Just hold on. We're just waiting for like 8:05. Then we can just
Okay,
start so that I would have admitted most of the people that are joining the call.
okay, no problems.
All right. Uh, I'll let you know in about 2 minutes. Normally, when we have these meetings in with the GDG, there's always a DJ. I don't know. This is our second to last meeting. Around this time, somebody should have been playing music for us. So maybe against our next session, we may have a DJ so that we'll play music for the 5 minutes that we're going to wait for everyone to join.
Yes.
We already have a volunteer of our DJ, Mishak. Said he's a certified DJ. So we'll test you next week to see if you'll be the official DJ for the Narcos activities. If you don't perform well, though, so you can start sharpening your skills from now to that time till next week. So I think it's 8:05. I want to welcome you guys to today's session, and I also want to thank you guys for actually making it on time because as Africans we know that when they say 8 o'clock, some people it's 8:30 that they'll show up, and that's even early for us. So round of applause to you guys for showing up early. Without wasting too much time, Samuel is going to take this session. He's actually going to take you guys through building like a full product, right? I was thinking he was just going to show you guys the AI components of it, but he has decided to just go overboard, show you guys how to build a full product. And the AI component itself is going to be what he's going to showcase today. Then next week, he's now going to show you how to use or how to integrate the AI component into a web application, into a full-fledged web application. So typically, in my own opinion, these are some very very interesting things that people pay for. But you guys are privileged to have this, and I hope you guys will take advantage of this. And like I mentioned last week, if you have any questions when you are trying out whatever code we share, right? Please let us know in the WhatsApp group. If we can't answer it here, so you can just let us know in the WhatsApp group. So I'm going to be handling some other things in the background. If we can't finish on time, I'm going to share another Google Meet link in the WhatsApp group so you can join for us to just round up. So I think Samuel, you can take over. Hello, Samuel.
Yes, so I was connecting my other screen. Sorry.
All right, all
Okay.
right. So you can go ahead.
Let me see. Alright. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, just a minute. I'm trying to. Hello, sorry, just give me a few minutes. I'm trying to set this up.
No problem. Also, since I'll be on the call. If you have some other questions, you can just leave them in the chat. If there are things I can address, I'll just reply them. Otherwise, I can just leave them to the end so that someone can discuss them later. So I think we can see your screen now. So I'll just mute myself.
Okay. So and okay, let me see. So hello guys. So let me just share my slides. The slide I mean. So I'll get started. Okay. 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 So you can hello, you can see my screen, right? You can see my
Yes, yes, I can see your screen.
all right. So welcome guys. I was trying to share my video, but it's not. I don't know why my camera is not showing. I was not seeing myself. So let's just go proceed. So just like thank you, Mr. Baraka, for the introduction. So uh, we started last week, and just like Mr. Baraka shared, I will be walking you through how to build your first real-time agents. So for if you are not familiar with what real-time agents or voice agents are, then it's okay. We'll get to understand that during the course of this session. So it will be broken into. So just like Mr. Barker said, this week we'll be walking through the introductory parts of it. I'll walk you through the basic concepts. Working with using Google Colab. So if you are familiar with Google Colab is we'll get through that. So I'll just so it won't be an app, right? It won't be a full-fledged app right now, but you'll get to see how the pieces work together. And next week we would walk through a web-based application. The idea is to be able to get you equipped so that you are able to build what or at least being able to like be comfortable working with some of these AI solutions. And trust me, the possibilities are endless. This can grow into very amazing projects, whether like startup projects or even like globally recognized projects. So yes, so a little about myself, even though you got to know about me last week. So um, I'm Samuel Nnitiwe. I'm an AI engineer, and for those of you who are just meeting me, I think I was in Bingham last some months back. So, but for those of you who have not, who are just getting to know me, I'm very passionate about like training and past like helping tech enthusiasts build careers in AI, and have been doing this for some time now. I've facilitated trainings with over 3,000 participants, and I've also directly mentored over like 200 people, persons, both in Nigeria and abroad. So that's so, and I also run like a technical article where I dive deep into how you can build AI applications, and yes, so just high level to just get you up to speed. So you are going to be learning things, the skills you'll be learning, or what you'll be introduced to, are tools that are technical and would really get you at a global stage. So I want you all to take this session very seriously. And if you have questions, there are no dumb questions. If you have questions, I believe that if you really want to get the best out of this, even if you don't know HTML and you're following this tutorial, it's very okay to ask questions, because there's no way you will proceed if you don't start, or if you don't get clarification. So there's no dumb question. If you are too shy to ask them directly in the chat, then maybe after the chat you can follow me. I was rushing to work on a slide. I didn't even put my link. So, but you will be able to find me. Just you'll be able to find me on this. I think. Okay, sorry. So I hope you can see the blog link. So you be able to communicate with me, and feel free to reach out to me, and I will try to provide support for you. So like I said, the major way in which I currently pass knowledge for AI enthusiasts is through my blogs, and the tutorial we'll be going through, I actually covered it in one of the lessons in my blog. So if you are interested and want to learn a lot about like building AI applications, feel free to follow. And yeah, so let's proceed and get to the business of the day. And I would like this to be interactive as well. So I let me see. Okay, just give me a minute. Let me escape, because I want to be able to see your chats as well. Let me. So yes, so I want to be able to see your chat. So if you have questions and you can't type them, just drop them the message. I'll be seeing them immediately. So okay, yes, good. So that means, so you can still see my screen, right? Just let me know in the chat if you can see it. Just yes or yes. I want to see your exactly. So for this tutorial, like I said, we'll be going through how to build. So yes, what's high level? What's okay? You have a question. Like, is there a mistake, or you have a question? If it's a question, you can just drop it in chat, since this is early in the conversation. So the person email Emmy. Okay. Yes. So just so like I said, so we are going to be I think we have gone over this. So the three tools, or the major tools we'll be working with, we'll be using live kits, an open source tool. We'll be using Google's text to speech, Google speaks to text, and then Gemini. So these are the four tools we'll be working with for this tutorial, and you will get to understand why. We'll go through the basics. So yes, so high level high level right? So I think I'll just be dropping that in the chat as well. So okay. So I'm dropping some links in the chat for you to follow through. So live kits. So live kit is for real-time conversations. If you are thinking about building an AI, so like a real-time agent. Now, let's not before we talk about building a real-time agent. For those of you familiar with language models, you possibly have worked on content generation solutions where you use either Oppo ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok to generate text, to generate images, and so much more, or other tools to generate video. So if what of audio, you have a lot of tools in the market for audio. You have 11 labs. You have, sorry, okay, yes. So you have 11 labs. So you have 11 labs. You have a Max Mini, you have Whisper, you have Gemini, Google's text to speech, and then there are so many other tools. So um, these are some of the tools that are available for audio. But when you look at the process of developing a real-time call agent, so let's say you want to build an AI call center, or you want to have like a voice companion, or if you have used some of these generative AI tools, whether it's ChatGPT's app, I think, or even Grok, you have this voice mode where you are able to talk in real time to a voice agent. Correct? Like, has any of you worked with tools like that? I think feel free to just unlock your mic and speak. I want to know that my network is not bad and like can hear me. So have you worked with any of these voice tools before? Hello. Okay. Okay, no problem. So if you have not worked with them, so basically we're going to be working on those tools, and then just like I said, so the live kit is for the real time conversations. Google API is for Google API, Gemini will be the brain. So anytime we speak to the agent and we want the agent to be able to process what we have said, Gemini will be that brain, that part of the AI that processes what you have said, and then assesses and analyzes, and then decides, okay, what is an accurate response to this? Because you can have a real-time agent that listens to you but speaks rubbish. So Gemini is going to be the brain, and then text to speech. So basically, when you speak, a typical pipeline is when you speak to an AI agent, or when you speak into your mic, the audio file gets uploaded into the to the server, you're talking to, and then that audio file, for Gemini to be able to understand it, the speech to text will have to convert your speech, the audio file, and extract the text of what you have said, so that the Gemini, large language model, uh, processes it to understand what you are saying before when it now generates a text response. Then you now pass that text response into a text to speech model, which now converts that text into a voice. So you choose whatever voice you want to work with, and then this voice is now speaking. So, and the last one is the interesting part, which is very vital, because I'm trying to just go over this. I know that the early stages are boring, but it's very vital. So the last tool, this tool allows you. So if you look at real-time communication, you understand that if I'm talking with you on the phone, and now let's say someone just unlocks, as we are speaking now, I'm speaking and you are speaking full time. So most AI solutions you see are not real time, in the sense that when you send a text, you first translate or generate the audio for it, and then then you have to move in phase. So, but if you are moving like that, if you implement a tool like that, it will be more like a WhatsApp recorded conversation, or let's say a voice note, where you send text and then the AI now generates the audio, sends you the audio without interruption, without room for interruption. In a typical human conversation, as I'm talking right now, someone can just interrupt what I'm saying, and I need to be able to smartly stop, detect that there's an interruption. Of course, for humans, it's not difficult. Once I hear you speaking, I know that you have interrupted, you want to talk, then I can pause what I'm saying, and then when you're done speaking, I will now decide to either respond to what you have said, or discard what you are saying and then continue from where I stopped. So this has been very difficult to do in AI solutions, but this Celero, sorry, is a tool that will help us to do that. So Celero will help us to detect voice. So your speaker is actively, so when you build a voice agent, the voice will actively be listening, but it will not be translating until it detects that you are speaking, and it will wait for it to speak. And the difficulty, it will have to intelligently detect when you pause, or when you like all these modes, so that it's able to like only take the meaningful chunks of your speech, and translate it in real time. Now, remember, all this is happening in real time. So this is why this last tool is very vital. It might be too complex, but I'm just trying to use very layman, non-technical terms to explain it for you. So just understand that this last tool is the tool that will help the AI agent to be able to detect. So let's say you're talking and you develop a customer agent, and then you are talking, and then the customer interrupts the agent while it's not yet finished. The agent will pause and take in what the customer is saying, and then respond based on decide either to respond to what the customer said or continue from where he stopped in an intelligent fashion, just like a natural human conversation is happens. So it's very important that you understand these steps, even though we'll be addressing them in detail. So that's that being said, at this point, okay, yes, your hand, your hand is still raised, so you can drop it so I don't get confused and think that you want a question. So just click, just drop it. So, like, what is a real-time voice agent? I was just telling you. So maybe this diagram will help. So, if you are think what can this project, how can this project help you in the long run? So think about the idea of building AI agents. Now, a use case in could be a support agent. Let's say you have this, let's say a company like MTN, uh, Airtel, or most of these companies that have customer care representative, and you want to build an agent that instead of having press one for this, press two for this, like, you have natural conversations, automated conversations that can handle everything. And let's say a user has issues with, let's say you subscribe for data, or you, let's say DSTV, you subscribed to DSTV and you're having issues, you want to resolve it. Now, this agent will be connected to the database and can pull your information. So as you are talking, as it's interacting with you, everything a customer care agent can do, you build your agents to be able to do that. So of course, we're not going to go that sophisticated because that is challenging, but I'm going to be building the foundations for you to be able to, like, get into such fields. So look at, so you can connect databases, you can connect it gets very powerful. You can connect services such as Google service, like Google search, and so much more in real. And mind you, this is happening in real time. So you can perform so many solutions, pull in data from Wikipedia, from APIs, and have your agents communicating to the user in real time. All this is possible using voice agent. This means that you can build customer care representatives, you can build AI voice avatars, and solutions that will do perform almost faster than what a human would be, because if you power this with so many tools, the possibilities are limitless. And yes, so yeah, let's proceed. And okay, sorry. So yes, so like I said, this is the pipeline for what how it works, and it's very important that you understand. So the SST is basically just speech to text. So that's just a sort of speech to text. So when you speak, the first thing that happens is whenever the user speaks, right? So look, if you look at this diagram very carefully, you see that, okay, so first of all, you have the first step is when the user speaks, or when the AI speaks, you get sorry, when the user speaks, that's if a user speaks to the agent, the voice is transcribed, is transcribed using the text to speech, and then the agent now routes this to the LLM. So the LLM now takes that text, understands, processes it, understand what the user is trying to talk about, and then once it processes that, it decides, it generates a response. And once the response is generated, this text response is now sent back to a model that will convert that text response to a voice. So once that voice is now generated, it now goes back to the user, and that's basically what's happening here. And two technologies aside Google's text to speech, aside Google's text to speech, Gemini, and then the speech to text APIs. Other technologies that are very vital for this is live kits, and then the protocol, the Web3, Web RTC protocol. Now, and I'll tell you why it is very important. So first of all, the good thing about what we are doing is LiveKit is open source. This means you will not need to pay for it, right? So I hope you have access to your systems because we are soon going to get into tutorial. So LiveKit is open source. It serves as a server, allowing you to be able to like build solutions that have very low latency, meaning that I don't have the charts here. I wanted to include the chart, but it's processing like all this analysis. If you have used something like Whisper or you have done some voice translation, you will see that you understand that sometimes it takes time for voice to be translated. All this analysis, uploading the file, there are so many things. So how do you get a solution that responds in milliseconds or microseconds? That's what is challenging, and that's what LiveKit does. So LiveKit is an open source solution that allows you to be able to like host and handle this conversation in real time, but making latency. So latency, that's communication, having latent communication go in microseconds, right? In micros, like in very low speed. Even when you're connecting to all these tools, the good thing, even if you want to change your, let's say, speech to text and use something like DeepGram or ChatGPT or 11 Labs or whatever, you can. The good thing about this is LiveKit allows you to be able to plug this. It has an API an SDK that allows you to be able to like work with Python, and we'll see that to connect all these pieces together. So like just like this diagram just shows you, okay, so what happens when you are trying to like detect. So what this is one very important part of like LiveKit, being able to detect when there's a voice, when there's an interruption. So that's basically what this diagram is. If you see, so semantic interruption, sometimes the interruption might be so it will does not require you to stop. When intelligently deciding when to stop, and then okay, when I like talk, so basically they're just detecting voice activity, and that if I want to get into this, I will get too technical, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to proceed. And so yes, so now, having said that, uh, very important piece protocol. So if you are familiar, so how many of you understand what APIs are, or you have worked with APIs? Just in the chat, just drop if you have worked with an API or SOAP, whether a REST API, um, SOAP, whatever APIs you have worked with. Okay, so I can see one person has worked with. Okay, let me ask this question: how many of you don't know what an API is? If you don't know what an API is, just because that would tell. I want to know if I should explain that. Okay, nobody's saying no. Ogochukwu, are you saying me because it's no, or me because? Okay, yes, Mr. Baka.
Yeah, so I think some of them reacted with thumbs up. So thumbs up,
Baka,
I think
your hand
means.
is raised. Did you want to say something? Okay, I think that was a
Can you
mistake.
hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Yes.
Yes, I said some of them did thumbs up to show that they are aware of, like they know what APIs are and have
Oh,
worked
okay,
with
okay.
it.
I see.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. So since I think we're talking to a technical, and of course, it's technical. So,
But there are a
okay,
few
so
people. There are a few people that don't know what it
oh,
is.
okay,
Yes, but
okay.
I
So
think
basically,
maybe it's just going to be important to just briefly explain it because it's not like the
yes,
key
yes,
part of this
yes.
session.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know, what API allows you to be able to like communicate, like perform. It's like a gateway, like a programming gateway that allows you to be able to like connect multiple applications. So for instance, APIs are what allows you to be able to like integrate payment solutions into your app. If you want to work with tools like Spacestack, Flutterwave, use and integrate it into your e-commerce application. Most of these things are done using APIs. If you want to integrate Bolt that uses Google Maps and all these things, they use APIs to do this communication. So basically, API facilitates data transfer between interfaces, or will I call it applications. So you can have your application and then you just connect to an external API produced by a particular service, and then get to empower your solution with services like Google Maps and all these things. So but the limitation with APIs is that APIs don't function in real time. So if you are trying to like do real time, all these voice calls, video calls, and all these things, you cannot do them in real time with the REST APIs. that are available for bank transfers. So there are other protocols that are available, like WebSockets, that if you can go up and read about them. So WebSockets are good, but WebSockets are also have their limits when it comes to handling real-time streaming solutions. So now WebRTC is a real-time protocol. So it's an alternative to all these solutions that facilitates real-time data transfer and exchange. So uh, briefly, to just highlight what that means, these solutions like this Google Meet, Zoom, and a lot of your voice powered solution real-time calls are using use this particular protocol to, to facilitate, to implement it. So if you're trying to build a product like Zoom, this is what you're going to use. So that's why LiveKit has worked with something like this, to be, because we're trying to build real-time agents. So this is the protocol that is used, and I hope that makes sense. Yes. So briefly, I think I've gone through this, so I think it might just make sense to go over, to just skim through it. So Gemini, I think we'll just go over. I will just be going in. I've spoken about this. So that being said, I think we have come to practical um, the practical session. So just hold on. So for those of you who are following, right, we are going to get into the practical session, and the first thing I'll be doing would be sharing this. Sorry, let me. Okay, good. So I'll share this in the chat so that you can follow me. I'll share it both in WhatsApp, in the WhatsApp chat, and also on the Google's Google Meet. So please let me know if you are able to like access this link. So this is the tutorial we'll be going through for today. This is the tutorial we'll be going through, and the first thing I will need you to do is to head over to the first link. So I want to know. So I think if you are stuck, or if you are behind, just let me know, because I want you to follow along with me when I'm making. So like I said, I'm going to be pasting them. I'm going to be pasting all the links. I think I'll be pasting them in the WhatsApp chat as well, so that just so you are able to follow through, and then I'll paste that. So if you are all of us together, have you accessed the Google Notebook? Okay, yes. Please ask your question. Ask. Someone raised the, just unlock just unlock, speak. Someone raised their hand. Okay. Okay. No. Okay. Victor, you are done. Okay. So fine. Are you with me? Okay. Yes. Okay. So I want. Okay. Why is this? Sorry, my screen is frozen. Okay. I think I mistakenly entered a demo mode, so that's why we got there. So quickly, just sign up here. Sign up and get. So like I said, it's open. So this is open source. So for ease, so that you are able to follow this tutorial, I am making. We're just going to be using the cloud version. But if you want, if you're someone who's technical and you want to like be able to like deploy your own version on a self-hosted platform, it's very possible. You can do this. So you can download, work with Docker containers and like build your own version so that you don't have to like pay on the cloud. So if you have like your own server running, you don't have to pay or subscribe. That's the beautiful thing about this. So once you head over to this, I want you to go to API keys. Yes, so when you go to API keys, you will create an API key. So once you create the API key, I want you to, yes, so I won't be, I won't be, of course, I won't be sharing my private keys for various, for obvious reasons. But I want you to, if you are here and you have created your keys, please just notify, verify. Okay, if you want us to wait for you, okay, maybe I should be using the negative thing. So if you are not there yet, you can put thumbs down. Let's know that, else I will proceed. Okay, Benedict, but are you on the, if you can feel free to unlock your mic so that I will move fast. I want to know, have you gotten to, if you have not gotten to this screen, let me know. I hope you have access to the link. So have you created accounts? Have you been able to? Okay, I think I missed a step because I already had that. You might need to create a project, right? So let me just go back. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. So I can see that. But have you created a project? So when you get to, I think, where is this, the screen? My screen is, because you can see I'm active in my own project. There's a project, so I know that when you sign up, you are going to be prompted to, or you will be prompted to act to create a project. So yeah, exactly. So if you have signed up, you have created a project. Make sure you have, of course, since you are working with, just make sure that there's no space. You use hyphens if you need to have space. So for my own project, I have named it Neat VA. So, but just you need a project to get started. So once you create that, I think because I already have this process, I've worked on this. You So that's why it's not available here. So, but of course you can see. So like I said, you need to create a project so you can manage the projects here, and you have the URLs here. So, but once you create a project, you head over to settings, and then you you have go to keep APIs. So if you are there, let me just know. Once you are there, exactly, yes. So once I've gotten there, yes, okay, yeah, good. So for those of you, I will just we will just proceed so that you are able to like follow along. I'll just, okay, Mordecai. Okay, let me, for those who are ahead, let's try and see. Let me just go to the next tool. So you can ignore this 11 labs for now. When I was trying this yesterday, I was trying to work with. I'm just trying to. This shows you that you can actually get other solution, other tools as well. It's not just limited to just Google. That's the beauty of this. You can plug and play different AI tools. So yes. So once you have that ready, so you get, okay. Let me get back to it. So if you have created your APIs, what you need to copy these three variables. You need to copy your live kit URL. Very important, as it is. Copy your live kit URL, copy the API key, and copy the API URL secret. These are very important. Once you have copied them, now put them, keep them somewhere, maybe in a text file, just somewhere safe where you can access them. We're going to use them shortly. So copy your URL, copy those URL, those links. Have you copied it? Just tap thumbs up if you have done that. Okay, good, good. So once you have saved that, so you are done with this. You are done with this interface for now. So yes. So next thing we need to do is to get head over to Google API. So I will be pasting another link here. So Gemini, I don't know. Basically, this is your Gemini API key. So I hold on. Let me see. I hope my keys are not showing. Okay, yes. Good. So the next is your Gemini API key, and if you don't have that, you just visit this link I sent to you. You can get your own. You can get your Gemini API key. I believe that since we walked through, just go through, just try and access your Gemini API key. Do we have if you have your Gemini API key, please just, and now this is where it's interesting. If you don't, I think because I was contemplating whether to work with you. Now you need a Google Cloud account. How many of you, and in order to create a Google Cloud account, I know you need to have a card. You need to have a card to that account. So I'm just wondering. What's. Just hold on. Let me see. So I'm wondering if we can follow along in. Okay, we need to do that. Let's. So I'm pasting the cloud URL. So pasting that here and in the chat as well. Okay. Yes, let's check. Okay, yes. Do I save the environment keys? Yes, just for now. We will get to the part where you get to integrate the environment variables. But for I just want. Okay, I think time is already. Just check. Put in the Google API keys. Because of time, I'm thinking that we. Okay, should I walk you through the tutorial itself, or should we walk through the process of
Um,
generating those?
Samuel, I think you can walk them through the tutorial, right? So what I'm doing now
Okay,
is I'm recording my screen, so I'm recording your session. So all the
okay,
things that you've mentioned, I think the only outlier now is the fact that they need to create a Google Cloud account.
okay,
Yes, so
okay,
I
okay.
think maybe for those people that are going to try to follow along, even after we share the video, we can just assist them with that in that WhatsApp group, or they can reach out to you through your website
Okay, no
regarding.
problems.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking that with technical having to download. So let me just go through the process. So it's important now. It's important for us to first step in order to use this is to have our private keys. Of course, because it's private keys. I won't be showing you, but I have my private keys here. You can see I have my Google API. I have my Google and then have the URL to my Google applications and credentials. So one important step that is out there is let me just go to this and just show you. So once you are logged into your okay, I don't know if I'm thinking okay by sending this link it will not make sense to you. So but basically this this speech to text link, once you need to enable it, you will need to enable it. I have it enabled. So once you create, when you go to Google, let me just start from here. So once you go to Google, you will so once you go to Google, you need to create a and you once you go to Google and you upload your and you have your API your credit card, you will need to create a new project. Once you create a new project, and then so we have different projects here. So when you create a new project, let me try and just create a new project. Let's see, text. Let's see, voice agent. So when you do this, I'll create this, and then once you have created this, you can go to APIs and and services. So when you go to APIs and services, then you would need access to you need of course you get your go to your credentials and have an API key. So once you come to your credentials and then you create API keys. I'm not going to create one now, but once you create those API keys, you have a JSON file that you would use to and you have to download that JSON file. Now that JSON file is very important. And then also aside that JSON file, you will also need to come to enabled services. So because for Google's API, any service you are using has to be enabled. So let me just come quickly and then you will search. We need two services from here. So once we have gotten, I've shown you the links. So first, you will get your Gemini API key from this page, and then you will get your Google text to speech and speech to text API enabled here. So you will just trying to when you click enable services, API and services, so you search for text to speech, text to speech. So you can see this, so when you click this, you just enable, as simple as that. Once you enable this, you must enable your text to speech. You also do the same thing for speech to text. So you just search that and enable these areas. Once you have enabled them, you are good to go. And then when you come here, so if you look at my screen, so I have all these files. So basically, this is my Google Gemini API API key. This is the application URL. I'm not sharing that for, or you know what? I'll just do it. I'll just make it safe. I'll share it for just so you understand what I'm saying. I'll share one. I'll share the URL since that is not very harmful to share. So if I sorry. So just follow along. So and then also of course you put in your, so if you are following me online, if you are following me on the collab, you can use this approach. So of course, if you are using your app, there are multiple ways to do this. You can either use an environment variable, but since it's Google has a feature that allows me to be able to like save my APIs here. So it's not it's easy for me to just like include them here and then just call them. So but if you are using environment variables, you can use operating systems. So there's a way to around that. So if you are loading them from JSON, the idea is best practice. You don't just put your API keys directly on screen or on your notebook for everybody to just see. So the reason I'm logging into my Google Drive is because my API key is the file, the JSON file is in my Google Drive. So I'm just using the collab function to get access to that particular file. So once I've installed this, the next is okay. Let me see. Just give me a minute. So once I've installed this, so I will print this particular link. So you can see that we're using the Google Colab library. This basically is what allows us to have access to this the values here. So I'll just close this because I'm done with that. If you have issues, please just quickly let me know, and then I'm going to print this just so that you can see. Let me just open a new tab here. So you can see that this is nothing but a URL.
Hello Samuel, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you just open the keys section again in Colab so that I'll just explain something?
Okay.
Yes. So when you open this section, right, for you guys, you're going to see a lot of empty. It's probably going to be empty. So you're going to see add new secret. So if you click the add new secret, you can now enter the key name. So where you see in the code, where you see Google API key, right, you type the same thing there, Google API key, then you paste the value in that hidden section, in the value section. So in his own case, you can see there's 11 API, there's open API, but in this case, you don't need all those ones, right? Just the ones that you are going to use in your code, which I can see about 5 of them. So those are the 5 keys that you just add. So you add the key name, then the key value, then you can proceed.
Yeah. So I thank you sir for that. So just like you see, if you look at this, you can see the first the step is just you add you click add new secret, and then you type in the name. So let's say something like this, and then you type in your key. So for those of you who copied the values from your API keys from live kits, copy them. The value on the left hand side of the equal sign should be in this value in this cell, and then the value on the actual key should be here. Now it's very important that you use the exact value here, because the libraries you are going to be working with will use, even though it doesn't really matter here for consistency, you can use it here. But when you come to set your values here, let me just delete this. I don't need this here. So when it comes to set your values here, you can see I'm using this Google API key. Don't set your custom variable value. Why? Because the Gemini key will use this particular variable name to track that environment variable behind the scenes. So you shouldn't change this. You shouldn't change them. Just use them as they are. So live kits, same thing. You when you're setting it, this is just basically setting an operating the environment variable for your local for your server you're running this thing on, and then your application will look for these particular keys when you're working with them. So I hope that makes sense and that is clear. If it's not clear, I think I saw some. I had a message, so I don't want to. Okay, yes. So someone said, okay, yes, save the environment variable. So like I said, so if you look at this particular section, like I said, it's just a JSON file. It's just a file. So that file contains some details, but you're going to be downloading this file from Google Cloud. And once you have that, you provide the link to that file, and that's what you need in this particular variable. So it's very important, because without it, you won't be able to use your speech API or voice or your text to speech, or your Google text to speech, or Google speech to text. So having said that, so of course, so then we import the library. So we have installed the levels kits, the agents kits, and all these things. We just run this, and yes. So once we run this, so of course, because we are not, we can even take this one out. We're not using this. I'm not using this for now. So I'm not using 11 labs. I only need to include that if I'm going to use 11 labs. For this tutorial, we're not using 11 labs. So we just need Google. We need Google's API, Google plugin, and then also the activity detection plugin as well. So that's basically it. So this these libraries are what you need to be able to get things done and get get your code working. Of course, we are using Google API, and I will show you where we are going to detect that. So where we're going to integrate that. So once you have executed this, the next thing now is to define your variable. So like I said, we need three things. These are the three main pieces. Okay, you said can you just explain how I okay in your collab, right? So can you see, are you able to see on your collab, can you see the secret key on the left? Are you able to see that? Just unlock your mic so that we talk. Valerian.
Yes, I can see the secret key on my left.
Okay, have you clicked it?
Yes, I've clicked it.
You click, you can add new secret.
Okay. Yes, I have. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. So having done that, okay, now you can mute so it doesn't echo. So now the first is the LLM, so the Google Brain, which is simply going to be declared using this particular integration. So if you are going to use ChatGPT, this will just simply change to, you import the ChatGPT plugin, and then it will be a simple line as simple as this. If you are using Grok, it will be same thing. If you are using, so this just plug and play. So it's not something that is difficult. You can use. So for this, we are using this, and then we are using the Gemini, this particular model in the Gemini API. So if you want to change it to something more sophisticated, you can change it, and you can just the same way you interact with the Gemini API. So this is just how you implement it. Very straightforward. And then for this Google text to speech, now this text to speech uses the setup that you create on Google Cloud. So for this, there are many models that you can use. But now another thing I did not mention is uh, you might need to watch extra tutorials for your Google text to speech, because you have based because it's a cloud solution, it has regions, and then you can set depending on what region you use, you might have access to certain models and you might not have access to certain models because of that. So I don't want it to be too long for this class. That will require a class on its own, but that's something that you can consider. So once you set up, I'm using global. So for global, I have access to this. You have the model and then some other models, latest long, and then you have one for phones. But I'm using this. I'm using the short for this for the purpose of this tutorial. And then yes, so you have text to speech. For text to speech, you have very important. There are many other models for text to speech, but it's very important that you stick to this. So I will give you this. I'll share this link so that you get access to the list of models that are supported if you want to choose voices. So it's very important that you stick to this. There are more voices, but not all voice modes on Google's text to speech are supported for real time voice. Voice voice functions. So you will see the supported values here, and then you can simply just change it. So for this particular tutorial, I'm using the POC or POC name. So if you want a female voice, you can check that in that link I dropped. So they can work with it, and then of course you can see that you can select the language. You can use English, US or China, or if you are trying to use a language that is not English. There are more configurations. I'm just trying to highlight and tell you so that you get to see the okay, yes sir.
Yes, I shared another link because I think we're almost out of time here. So I think we can
Okay,
just switch. We can just switch to the other link so that you can take your time to explain the code moving
okay,
forward.
no problem. Okay, no problem, sir. Let's drop this. Let's go off this.
All right, so you can get the link at the WhatsApp group.
Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen? Are you with me? Can you see my screen?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Let me just wait for the rest to join.
Yes, we'll just wait a bit. This is where our DJ is supposed to come in. Oh. How many people knew that Mishak is a DJ? Nobody is raising their hand that they know that he's a DJ. Okay, Joy knows that he's a DJ. He has a certificate in being a DJ. I think at this point, Mishak is supposed to, is he here? So that you unmute his mic and explain how a DJ has a certificate. And we can also think of a way to see how an AI can actually take that job as well.
Oh yes. So
So
I think that
coming. I just want to make sure. Uh, I want to see if a couple of people that were following before have. Our DJ has finally joined. Uh, I'm trying to see if some people that were following before are currently on the call. But I think you can proceed. We already have about 15 people. So let's just
oh,
proceed.
okay. So yes, so just a recap for just a recap. We have set up we have successfully set up our environment. For some funny reason, I discovered that while running this, it's you need to like run it twice before it gets like executed well. So if you are trying to try it on your own, when you install this pip, I think maybe because of the way Google Colab works behind the scenes, when you install it the first time, it if you proceed like that, you might not have access to these plugins. So I think maybe I need to like I should have installed the main libraries first and then the plugins after for some reason. So, but it's not when you need to like run it twice to get access to it, just so you don't run into issues or errors, right? So, having said that, uh, we have our files now. We have our environment variables, and we have executed. We have imported the libraries. So it's important to understand how it works. At high level, I want to just keep it high level. Um, we have agents, and then basically what's how the kit works is that it gets to it locks it, when you connect to a live kit instance, it adds you to a room. Let's call it a room. When it creates a session, it adds you to a room, or and then allows you to it now listens in the room. So once you are for take it like a live session, now we are all in the same room. We are connected to the same room. So as we are speaking, the agents can track this. Now, this might not make much sense to you now, but it's understand try to understand it from the point that this can work for you can use this particular library to implement more complex solutions like multi-agent conversations or streaming sessions. You can build AI presentations, you can do video presentations as well. So imagine a situation where you are trying to like work with an AI avatar that maybe teaches people. So that these are very advanced projects. But if you want to like let's say build an AI tutor that instead of me speaking now, it's you have an avatar that uses a voice and then processes goes through the screen. You can connect AI now to do automate computer movement and all these things. So if you build a solution like that, you can build an AI tutor that will teach people anything. That's slightly complex, but even this tool can help you do that. So it can tackle multiple speakers and multiple conversations, just so you understand how it works. So yes, so we need. Let me see. Okay, so let me just proceed. I'm trying to not make this explanation too complex. So just forget about the libraries. Just understand that LiveKit helps you solve most of these issues, right? Most of these issues when it comes to real time, and then also hosting your agent and managing the routing and the conversations in a real time scenario. So I was here and I spoke about the LLM and the large language model. I spoke about the speech to text solution. We have that, and then I now the last part is the text to speech, and I shared this link about language the solutions that are allowed. Now it's very important that you have this, because one of the things when I was trying to translate, because when I did this tutorial I didn't use Google. So yesterday I was trying to like work with Google to fix this. Don't miss this out, because it's important. It's Google needs this particular encoding value to detect or to process your voice in real time. So, and it's important that you use the PCM, because that will take your voice in raw form. If you use Wave or MP3 or all these things, it won't work. It will break. It will break. So that's very important. And yes, we move to the next. So now this is where we define our agent. So we're trying to define our voice agents. Uh, and in so yes, so defining the voice agent, basically we are going to be inheriting the agent class. This is a function that we had, and you can see how straightforward it is. So once you inherit the agent class, you can now you can now pass your the parameter. So for this particular case, we are not simply just passing. Okay, our Google LLM is this. Our large language model will be the Google LLM. Our text to speech will be this. Our speech to text will be this, and then like that. So if you look at this particular commented section, you can see how easy it is. So if you wanted to use 11 labs, all you will need to do is to uncomment this and then like set this, which is very similar to how we define Google. So of course, 11 Labs will have its own parameters as well, so you can customize it depending on voice. So 11 Labs, you go to 11 Labs. I know 11 Labs has voices that you can pick, and you can also clone your voice in 11 Labs and integrate. So imagine a scenario where you are trying to like clone your voice and use your voice as the agent. You can use 11 Labs to do something like that. But one challenge from my experience, Google Voices has very good performance when it comes to like simulating human conversation. For instance, this voices here have things like pauses. Like just if you have used Google's podcast feature, you understand what I'm saying. It's not just very robotic. Like if you're using 11 Labs, you have very perfect conversations that are flowing without pauses and things like that. But when you're using Google Google's models were trained to simulate actual human conversation. So you have things like exclamation, and also it can give context to this to rise in pitch and low and all these things. So that makes Google's voice very good, a very good tool when you're trying to like translate text back to speech. That will help you because that is very good with that. The only challenge, and I look forward to Google implementing the clone feature because that will make it very perfect. Because their voice solutions are actually better than most of the other tools I've tried when it comes to like simulating actual human speech, right? So it's just that they don't have the clone. So if you want to like clone your voice, you can use something like 11 Labs to do that. So and then of course we have the module that will help us to detect when an agent is speaking. These are very important. Once you have that, then you have these instructions. You have the prompt. So basically, you take the prompt. So when you are defining an agent, you define the prompt of what the agent should do. So if you look at this particular prompt, it's very simple. I'm saying, okay, you are basically this. It's just a prompt to just highlight. Let me just hit enter so that you understand the language or what it's saying. So this is just a very simple example to show you how you can like prompt customize. So depending on the use case, depending on what you are trying to like work with, you can use depending on what you want to work with, right? You can use you can customize your prompt, and then also like I said, you can actually go as far as connecting tools like Google search, so that when you speak to the agent is able to like immediately like perform a Google search or perform an API call or all these things behind the scenes. So there are more aspects. So, but once you have done that, now this is let me just round this up. So once you have defined this is a very basic definition. You use this job context. So this job context is very important because that's what like triggers the session that you're going to work with. So in next, and then if you look at this particular area, now this is a very small app that you don't have access to this code, right? So, but when trying to like run a demo, Live Kits worked on a very basic app that can help you to simulate a real conversation on a notebook. So this app, just don't get confused. All you need to do when you're trying this is just reference this link. So this app allows you to be able to like run it whether you're using notebook or you're using whether you're using Google Colab, you're using whatever notebook you're using, Colab or SageMaker or what's the name? Jupyter notebook. It doesn't matter. You can use this and you can integrate this, and then you'll be able to like test it on your live session. We'll test it now. So, but if you are trying to build an actual app, like a web-based app or a mobile app or all these things, you will need to pass your entry point to a different channel, and that's what we'll be doing next week. So if you are curious, you can go to the documentation and explore them. explore them, but we can customize them and build full-fledged applications. So next week we'll be working through a web app. We won't be working through um, Colab or notebooks. But this is so basically this is what it is. So once you structure this, structure your pass in your room variable, your session agent session, and then the assistant. Remember the assistant we just fine tuned it. That's what we have here. What we just have is this class. And once you have been able to pass every information and you have passed these parameters, you can run this and you are ready to test your app. So when we run this, let me just try. So yes, so okay, so you unmute and hello, good day. Well, can you tell me more about yourself, who you are, and what's your purpose? Okay, yes. So let me just point. This was one of the challenges I had yesterday, and I think it's still there. So um, if you normally you are supposed to be able to have a natural conversation, just like you see when I responded the first time based on my text. If you look at the response, you can see it detected what I said, and it said what the user said was hello, good day, and you can see the language. It detected the language and detected and transcribed what I said, and it understood what I said and gave me an appropriate response. So, but for some reason, when I was trying this and when I integrated the Google API, it was failing. But I just discovered it's not because the code is wrong. I think it might have to do with this particular demo tool, this particular API. There have been some changes that is making this not to respond as efficient as it should be because it's not triggering. So we won't have this issue next week because we'll be working with a web-based API. And but this is just for starters. So what I wanted to just show you that first you can see that it's listening to my conversation and then it waited until I was done speaking before it processed it. So let me just even try. Since even though it's messing up, let me just try and rerun this and just say I'll try it. Let me just see what difference. Let me try a different speech text. I want to try a different text so that you see how it responds, and that even though we have issue of having the continuous conversation, let me just run this and see why is it taking time. Okay. Hello, can you tell me more about Nigeria? I want to know what Nigeria is. Tell me more about the country Nigeria. Yes. Okay, I don't know. Where is this? It seems my network is bad. It's not giving. Let me try one more time. Just I want to just walk you through. But I think it makes sense now. I think you need to like follow or it. Okay, follow. Tell me about the country Nigeria. I want to know where Nigeria is located, and then tell me all you know about Nigeria. Hmm. Okay, we're having some issues here. I don't know if it's my network or it's the because the app is failing. So, but you can see that it's picked. Let me just move to this. You can see that it picked the what I said and it has transcribed this transcribe the response, and it's just the generation that that failed. So let's just leave this at let's leave it at this for now. So this is the end of this particular functionality of this particular tutorial. It's I think if you have questions at this point, right, just feel free to like let me know. I think maybe it makes sense to take questions at this point. If you have questions, did you follow through? Did you understand the tutorial? Is something you can do, or do you think that you could reproduce this before the next class? Because I want you to like actually go back and try this and have your APIs ready by next week, so that by the time we are going through, this we are able to follow through because you don't have access to the Google API, you are not able to test them. But I want you to be able to like go back, try this, and generate the keys, so that by the time we are working on the app next week, you all will be able to use your systems to build to generate an app to generate the app using the code I'll share with you in a very easy fashion, and you will get your speed. Because this can go into you can the good thing about using Google APIs, Google has Hausa support, it has Yoruba, it has Igbo support. So you can build this into a solution that will work for Nigerian languages. Like that's the beauty of using. If you are using tools like 11 Labs, they don't really have so much support for Yoruba, Igbo, or some of this. Or if you even hear the Yoruba or the Pidgin, you'll be very. It sounds very funny. You hear I got the you hear this robotic voice. But Google, because of their existing database with Nigerian languages, has been able to train something that is very good. So that's one thing that will be helpful for you. So just I want you to really try, go back, and I feel free. If let me just share my. So yes, so this I'll share these two links, and then in Instagram, I think, yeah. Okay, yes. So if you want to reach out to me, you can use this either of these platforms, and we'll get so that before next week, I want to make sure that everybody who wants to follow has all their APIs available, so that you can all run this successfully. And also by next week, we will be able to like have the app, so that you will start building very creative solutions at the end of the day. So I think this is the end of this particular session today. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in. Or yes, I hope that you are able to follow, even though it was a little bit scattered. So I hope you're able to like follow through, and you're able to like at least I didn't lose you.
Thank you, Samuel. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Thank you for this session. So one thing I want you guys to know is there has been a lot of information that has been shared today, right? I'm sure some people have never created a project on Google console before, right? A Google project. So if you are going to be building maybe like an application that helps people find the closest hospitals, closest pharmacies, you need to integrate with Google Maps and Google Places API, right? And it's still the same process that he walked you through. You go to console.google.com, create a project, enable that service, whatever service you are using, and you can now use the API keys. The same process, right? So this is something that you are going to be using over and over again. And the solution that we've just watched now, right? It's to me, it has like a lot of use cases. Someone just mentioned something that did not even come to my mind. There are a lot of people that are trying to teach their children how to speak their native language. So if you are lucky to be a Hausa speaker or a Yoruba or Igbo person, right? Anywhere in the world, you can create a system for. So I'm giving some people final year project idea now. You can build a system where someone will speak something and you get the response back. You get the exact equivalent in Igbo or Yoruba and all those stuff. You can even go forward to even integrate Google Translate. So one of the things I also want to mention is the fact that we're talking about agents, right, in this session. the key thing here is we're using live kit agent for this real-time conversation, and the brain of it is Gemini, right? So one of the things the thing I want to point out is the fact that agentic programming is something that is coming whether you like it or not, and we want you guys to be at the forefront of this. When it comes to agentic programming, it means if you look at the I don't know whether I'll call it prompt or the description of the agent that Samuel gave, right? That's the only logic it gave to that particular piece of code. There's no part where he said if the person speaks nicely, then you should respond in a friendly manner, right? He has given the agent an instruction on how to behave. And like he said, you can give this agent some certain type of tools. You can use Google Search as a tool. You can have Gmail as a tool, right? You can have Google Calendar. So I can have a phone call, and an agent can listen to that phone call and hear that, okay, I should send, maybe I told the person that I will send you your project, a review of your project report by, let's say, 1st of September. Automatically, an agent can just go add that to my calendar and maybe even create a draft email for me to respond to. So those are some ideas that you can look towards, right? Even outside the space of voice. So I'm also going to share the build with AI notes on agentic programming, right? So you guys can also have a look at that. But right now, I don't know if anybody has any questions generally, because I think Samuel did a good job breaking this stuff down. You start with speech. That speech gets transcribed into text. That text is processed by Gemini, and the response is sent back using LiveKit as audio. And in between, you also have I think it's Silero that looks for all these certain human pauses. You want to think about the right word to use and all those stuff, things like and so on. So I think that's just the basic pipeline of what has been covered today. So I don't know if there are any questions.
Okay, just to even highlight, sir, I added, so I just shared a link, a short video to help you generate API Google API keys on a YouTube video on the WhatsApp group. So for those of you who want to follow, you can use that video, and then it should be straightforward.
Yes, also making reference to the WhatsApp group is for those of you that have, if you are trying this out, right, just post your questions there, right? Even if Samuel is not there, I can always direct you guys to him or direct him to the questions and so on, so that by the time we meet next week for the final session, we'll have built the final application and everybody will have at least something to show at the end of it. And stuff like this is not to me I was actually surprised that you actually picked this project because it's quite big. It's like a real use case scenario. So I don't know, it seems there are no questions, right? So in the absence of, so there's a question if you can do this without Google Colab. Yeah, I believe you can do this without Google Colab because it's Python based code, but you may have some differences in configuration. So maybe you have to check the version of the libraries used on Colab and try to match that in your system's Python, in your system's pip library collection.
Yes, I think, sir, just to even add to what you are saying, quick, if you want to use, if you are talking about not using Colab because you want to use Jupyter Notebook, then all you need to do is to download download this particular library, this particular file. You can simply download it by coming down when you go to your Colab. When you see it, you'll be able to download as notebook. So download as this IP file. So once you download this, you can easily upload this onto Jupyter Notebook. When you upload to Jupyter Notebook, the only thing you will need to change is this section, right? And you need to change this section because, of course, you're not connected to Google Colab, so you don't need Google Library. So the only reason why I'm using why I'm using this particular user data value is because I am trying to pull from these secret keys. So what will happen is you have something like you need to use your OS. So you have to load the environment variable. You might need a file like you know what? Let me share an example.
Samuel, I think
Yes.
I think we covered that in the last session when we created the Google API key, right? So
Okay.
so you can use that same method that we use just for the test purposes. Or another thing you can do is you can create an environment variable file and just store your keys there. Just make sure that
Exactly.
if these things are live, you try as much as well. You should make sure that you don't share them on like Git and all those places.
Yeah. So just in addition to what you are saying, sir, if you look at it, like for instance, if you look at my screen, I just tried sharing my my screen. So you will need a .env file. My env file is here. I'm not sharing because that those have my actual keys. So .env file, and then of course this you can see that these are the same values that we had on the collab. Just if you are getting confused, so you set this, and then if you see, so I have an agent here, and then you can see that we are still pulling it. Simply all you need to do to be able to use the .env file is to import this particular line of code, which will help you find the env file and load the value automatically. So once you load this, you are done with everything variable. You are done with everything loaded. So if you want to run this against, it might be technical. The first thing I would advise you that you should try to run it on the load collab, since collab will not even require you to like set up anything on your system, right? It's straightforward. Just set up on collab. You don't need to even install Jupyter Notebook on your local system, and it's just create an account with Google Colab, and then run it. Once you are able to successfully run it there, then you can think of upgrading and trying to explore how you can connect to mobile apps or run it locally or stuff. So this one is just straightforward. You use Colab, it's easy to set up. All you just need to do is set up your variable keys. I hope that's that answers your question. You can also run it on your browser.
All right.
So I think that's
All right. In the absence of any question, I think we've spent a a lot of time. But I know that once it comes to stuff like this, getting set up is what takes the longest time, especially since we are jumping between different environments that we're not familiar with. So moving forward, next time it's just going to be strictly um, building the web application itself. So I think we'll call it a night here, and hope to see you guys next week. And thank you guys for your time. It has been supposed to be an hour. It has turned to an hour 30 minutes, and you guys made it to the end. So against next week, make sure you have your API keys and the environment set up. That's the first thing. The second thing is I think maybe we may share maybe like a starter code for the web application so that there won't be like a lot of back and forth writing code between Samuel and you guys. Then thirdly, thank God Mishak is here. You are going to start the first 5 minutes for us with your DJ session, yeah, as a certified DJ. So good night everyone. Enjoy your weekend.
Sir, please, when next are we meeting?
It's going to be Saturday again by 8 p.m. So it's
Okay,
normally
sir.
Saturday 8 to 9, but these things can take longer, so that's why we're here after 9 o'clock.
So I don't know if I can chat you one on one WhatsApp. Oh. There are some questions I wanted to ask.
Ask the question in the WhatsApp group. It's always best for you to ask so that I don't have to answer different people. Answer what do you call it? I don't have to answer one question several times, right? So if you ask in the WhatsApp group, someone else may have a similar question and they will just get the response without having to ask me separately. But if it's a personal thing, life problems, then you can send it to me personally.
Okay, sir.
All
Good
right.
night, sir.
All right. Good night. All right. Good night,
good night.
everyone.
Good night.